Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today is Sunday, April the 11th, and this is Life Matters. Come on, let's talk about it. Well, hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. It is time to talk about it. I am Michele Irby Johnson. I am your host, and this is Life Matters with Michele. You know, this is the platform where we talk about what matters in the African American community. And so we're going to dialogue today, and we have with us our very special guest, Darlene Curl, and she is going to be discussing entrepreneurship today. So don't forget to log in your questions so we can fill them over to her and she can be a part, you can be a part of the dialogue. Hello, Darlene. Welcome to the show.
Michele, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I am so excited to have you join me on today. You know, I had to take a little hiatus last week because, my guest, she had to take an emergency break. And so I had a break. So I'm back and I'm excited. And like we were sharing earlier, I had an opportunity, my husband and I, we relocated. And so I'm in my little remote studio until I get my studio ready. So right. I am so excited. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, today's guest is none other than Darlene Curl, and she's going to be discussing entrepreneurship. Let me introduce this wonderful woman to you all. She was born in Newburgh, New York. She's a divorced mother of two grown daughters, Jalissa and Tanisha, and a 5-year-old granddaughter who affectionately calls her Vovo, which is grandmother in Portuguese. After graduating from Newborn Free Academy, she enlisted in the United States Air Force, and then retired in November 2012 as Master Sergeant E12 after serving 24 years in various administrative, computer assistance, and knowledge operations management positions. Her military career took her around the world to 8 duty assignments: Texas, Germany, twice to the Pentagon, Korea, Japan, England, and 3 times to an undisclosed deployed location. I'm not going to tell y'all where we were because that's where I met her. We were at the same place in the Middle East together, and we served there. So Darlene has a bachelor's degree in psychology from the American Military University. Some of her interests includes attending family events, festivals, dining at restaurants, listening to live music, dancing, and I have watched her dance. Let me tell you, I've seen her live on the floor. Yes, she does love to dance. I've seen her in action. She's into fitness, weightlifting, kickboxing, boot camps, cooking, baking, grills, taking walks, and hiking. In 2006, after being divinely inspired, Darlene created a company called Daily Desire, making and selling online at vendor events, homemade skincare products, and we're going to talk about that today. She originally created the body butter for friends as a homemade Christmas gift a couple of years prior, and after several people showed an interest in purchasing the product, along with receiving positive feedback about the quality and results, the business was born. Meet Miss Darlene Curl, everybody. Welcome, my darling.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Yes. So Darlene is no stranger to me. Like I said, I was her military pastor when we were in the Middle East together. We started out under somebody else's pastor, but they had to leave on an emergency, and so they threw me in for one Sunday, and I ended up being the pastor for like 3 or 4 months. And so she was one of my faithful members when we were in the the Middle East. She was one of my leaders. And so it's no surprise to me that she's an entrepreneur because she has that spirit that connects with people. And so as we get started, because we cannot make the assumption that everybody knows what entrepreneurship means, what it actually is. So give us a working definition. What does that mean?
Okay, so I like to share what I came across, and then because like for me, entrepreneurship is a means by which you can offer a service, you can create products to where you're working for yourself. And I think it's a good thing to be able to work for yourself. And I'm gonna caveat that with my particular situation in a few minutes. But working for yourself, where you're your own boss, you're creating all the rules, whatever you're trying to get across. You got to know what your why is for why you're even want to be an entrepreneur to begin with, because that's going to drive you in, how you handle doing entrepreneurship stuff. So what I would like to share is something I found on investopedia.com, and it said entrepreneurship is important as it is has the ability to improve standards of living and create wealth, not only for entrepreneurs, but also for related businesses, as well as help drive change with innovation, where new and improved products enable new markets to be developed. We can change how our communities look and how they are viewed through entrepreneurship. It creates generations of new products, new services, skill sets. So I think it's very important for our community because, a lot of times we talk about how we don't like the look of our communities with the whole liquor store on, a lot of liquor stores, a lot of junk food places in our communities and things like that. And so if more of us would think about going an entrepreneur route, and then we fill and build our communities the way that we want them to, bring in the fresh fruits and vegetables and teach our children, at the stages that they are living in, that you don't have to live how a lot of times things are portrayed. You have the ability to make a change, to affect change, to make a difference for generations and generations to come. So I think entrepreneurship would be a wonderful thing to see more of in our community.
And I like how you said that it creates wealth, because when we're talking about our community, which is,
Right.
what I try to focus on our community and not being discriminatory, but I have to help us.
Right.
And so this platform is established to help inform, to enlighten, to encourage, to push, to provoke us to change. And I like the fact that it creates wealth, because a lot of people, particularly in our community, because very few of us are lawyers and doctors and all of these different things, but when you have an entrepreneurship spirit, you can take something as simplistic as, doing hair and start your own side business. And so, back in the day, because we're both in our 50s, I didn't mean to tell your business.
Oh, no, I don't have a problem with that.
We look,
that's a blessing.
Yes, man, we look good. But back in the day, we used to call it a side hustle, but we have to change our language so that it's respected a little more than saying this is my side hustle. This is, what I do to get over. But when you said it helps to create wealth, I love that, because I think that a lot of us, we get stuck. Even though we may be creative, we may have some ingenuity in us, some innovations in us, we don't use that to create that additional income.
Right.
And so talk to us about how you shifted from the military, because we know how much we were paid in the military, because I was an E7 too when I retired, and I retired in July 2012 after 26 years. And so I went from an E7 salary to $11 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That was a drastic drop. So
Right.
tell us how you shifted, because I did delayed retirement. So I didn't take my retirement when I retired.
Okay.
I think about it now. I'm like, man, I should have did that. But I was thinking, oh, I have a job now, I can do this, but no. So tell us how you made the shift, one from military, because our pay was different in the military, our benefits were different in the military. How did you make that shift to, because I know you were working a job after you retired.
Mm-hmm.
How did you transition from the military to the job to entrepreneurship? Walk us through that so we can see what that looks like from your perspective as a female, as an African American. What does that look like?
Okay. So for me, and everybody's story is going to be different.
Absolutely.
Life choices will put you on different paths, but I believe that we still can learn from each other. So I hope that someone, even though their path may not be my path, that they still can take something away from it. So for
Absolutely.
me, for me, when I retired from the military, I actually got a position as a contractor. So I still worked. It was like maybe a couple of months after retirement. My two girls, they were going to college and stuff like that. So I was like, for me, everything is based on faith as well. So
Amen.
I said, okay, Lord, so what do I do? Because I still didn't finish my degree. At the time, I was like 4 classes shy of getting my degree. I was like, what do I do? I still have car payment, have this house payment. Um, what do I do? So thankfully, I was talking, I should say that my ex and a friend was having a conversation about me and stated that I had, a clearance. And so that friend then knew a program manager, and they were looking for someone for a position. And so them speaking of me, I always say God is always at work. You never know how he gonna do things. And I was able to get a call and say we're looking for someone to fill a position, and I was able to go in and interview. 2 days later, I was given an offer. A week later, I was thinking about it. I put in a rebuttal offer, and then they accepted it, and then I started working. So that put me on that path, but it wasn't an easy path because within the 9 months, things were changing, and they said they were cutting contracts. And I was like, well, I just got started. What do you mean you're cutting contracts? When you are yourself and you have integrity and you do good work where people will recognize you and be looking at you when you don't even realize someone is looking at you.
Mhm.
I was given an opportunity to continue on because they liked what I had done. And so I was able to continue to work. This went on for several years. Every time a contract was about to come to a close, it would be within days. And I'm like, okay, Lord, what we gonna do? And I kept that faith.
Yeah.
So, so my, so for me, God always worked it out to where I was always working. I never missed a paycheck, even down to the wire of, hey, I had one more day to be able to find a position. Then came 2017. So 2016 is when I started my business. 2017 January, um, contract ended. I'm thinking, oh, it's just going to continue to be the same thing, and it didn't.
Mm.
Um, I didn't work from February until December of 2017.
Wow.
Um, I found out and lived through um, bill collectors calling and asking. I just started this business. What in the world, Lord, am I going to do? You know, um, for me, it was a spiritual thing of I'm a natural giver, but I didn't know how to receive.
Yeah.
That was a season of having to do that. So, in trying to do this business, several wonderful and great things had happened, um, and it was just amazing of the exposure that I got during this time frame. So I still am a contractor. I have a 9 to 5, and I do my business as well.
Okay.
Um, you might say, I might be a part-time entrepreneur um, with the 9 to 5. That's just the path I have, but I look at it in different ways. One, I don't have any loans. I fund myself. I fund my business myself.
Okay.
Uh, I I it's funny because like I'll be at work and I'll think of my business, like different ideas. God will give me different things. And so I have to keep a notebook. And I'm like, okay, so I'm jotting this down. So I'm not, sometimes I think I'm part-time. Sometimes I think, no, I'm still full-time because my mind is still thinking of things that I can do to improve on, on my business or things to implement. And I mean, it'll be like I'm doing my regular work, and then all of a sudden different things, and I'm like stopping and having to do this. So you're multitasking, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to take a path that is right for you. From as far as being an entrepreneur, some people they just go into it all
Full.
out, like, hey, this is it, I got to make this work because I have nothing else to fall back on. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. um Again, you got to know your why when you're doing that, though, because that's during those hard times, and it could be very treacherous. That's what's going to keep you going. You got to keep that focus of why am I doing this? I have to think outside the box sometime. I
Yeah.
got to accept help sometime. um that support. So for me, it was military, um, being a contractor. I'm still a contractor, but again, that's my particular path. But um, you're always you're always thinking, you're always working. Sometimes I will play around and I'll say, my 9 to 5 is getting in the way of my dreams and my my business of being an entrepreneur. One day I am gonna, walk away. Right now, I have so many different financial obligations in different areas that I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Uh, so, everybody has to make that kind of decision for themselves. But taking all this information, if people want to pour into you and, give you advice or information and stuff, take it in and think of how it will apply to you. Um, because you're whether you solicit it or not, um, people will want to tell you um, different pieces of advice and things of that nature.
Mhm.
Again, it's you're gonna have to live whatever decisions that you make. So take in what people are saying, but again, you have to formulate what's going to work for you. So one particular person's track may not be the right fit for you, you know,
Yes.
but you can take bits and pieces of what you hear and what's shared with you, and then create what's good and what will work for you.
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing is entrepreneurship is actually customizable. Um, you're not the first person I've heard who says that they have a full-time job and they do a business on the side, and then they oftentimes say that my full-time job is getting in the way of my entrepreneurship. And that's I think that's the case for many people who start up because they have this passion and this drive
Right,
to be their own boss, to do their own thing. But in the interim of them building that, getting the clientele, getting the finances that are really going to support their financial obligations, they have to have that 9 to 5. And
right.
so I'm glad you said that, because there are people, and I've seen them, I know them, who have jumped out feet first into
Yes.
entrepreneurship, and then in 2 weeks, 3 months, they're like, I'm broke, I'm homeless, I'm this. I'm like, well, did you plan? What you know? So,
Right.
so two questions for you: what was your why, and then what was your strategy to start your business, and what is it going to be in the next 5 years to let that become your full-time job?
Hmm.
Mm.
So
What is
give me
your why?
some.
Yes, I'm putting you on the spot. What is your
Right.
why? And then what is your strategy for daily desire to become your full-time job within the next 5 years?
So my why is I want to teach my daughters and my granddaughter that it is possible to be self-sufficient, make a way for yourself. It take and everything that it takes to make it happen. um that whole like thinking outside the box thing, that has taken on a great new meaning for me. And they see me on work, they see me when I have to struggle, they see me with the ideas, they'll help out and assist me,
Mhm.
um especially when I do large expos and things of that nature. They're very much so involved. I want to get them involved more. Um, I have to myself though learn to embrace the help and let go of the reins a little bit, because
There's only one person.
yeah. Cause I do sometimes have this mentality of like, oh no, this is my baby, and you know, can't nobody do it like I can do it. This is why I'm doing it, type of deal. But for me, why another why that I do this is what I offer is more of a social, from a social aspect versus I want to make all this money, because
Okay.
I think there's a different mindset too that you can have with entrepreneurship. You can do it for, like, if your drive is to make money, to be in stores, if you have products, to have your brand all over the place, recognizable, and things like that. For me, when it came out that my product that I just made as a Christmas, from Christmas gifts, that people were sharing with me that it actually healed their skin, that it was making a difference.
Mm.
uh, I have one of my daughter's friends that's pregnant. She's been using my product, and she says she doesn't have any stretch marks. I've had, different feedback, for different things. So for me, it's more of a help. Like, I'm actually making a difference in
Mm.
people's lives. So that's what's driving me for my business. Not so much so that, yeah, I want to make X amount of dollars in X amount of years. I'm more of, hey, this is really helping you. Okay, so I want to one day be like a dermatologist, like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna recommend this particular skincare product for you because I found that it works, and I'm on that level
Okay.
versus wanting to see my product in stores. I want to see um, everybody has skin. So I want to be able to help people feel good in their skin. I want their skin to look good. I want like blemishes and things like that. If I can help somebody just change their mindset about themselves, white, black, old, young, um, just the whole gambit. That's what I'm after, and how I think about it. In the next 5 years, to walk away, I think what will help me is once I get to a point where all my big financial obligations have been taken care of. Um, and the more I push my brand in front of people,
Hmm.
get them to do that reoccurring buying. Because it's
Right.
one thing when you know you're trying to let people know I have this amazing product. I don't go around saying that it's amazing. I let other people say it, the people who are using it, because then you're more apt to believe that than me just saying, hey, I created this product and you need to try it. It's good because I say it is. No, my thing is I always encourage my clientele, please share your stories because that's what is going to grab people's attention. Um,
Yes.
that's what's going to get them to try it and to continue to buy. So I do have some faithful clientele that just continually will give me awesome feedback how it just helps. And when I get to that point where there's more people that will continually um, purchase from me, and then I'm comfortable with, you know, I
Hmm.
know there's gonna be hills and valleys and stuff with business and stuff like that, but when I get comfortable to that point to where I'm able to sustain and not be able or not have come to a point to where I would have to stop because I can't financially support the purchasing of the ingredients because I do everything myself. I
Hmm.
I came up with my own formula. I take the raw materials, I put them together, the packaging, the boxing, the mailing, the labeling, just everything is me. So it's on me if it fails or if it's going to progress into something, huge. Um, I did have someone share with me on a couple of occasions that they said that they had I don't know if it was like a vision or a conversation with God, and they said that God said that this business is supposed to be a multi-million-dollar business, and I was like, ooh, that's
That's
ooh, it is, but that's God, and it's possible, um, and I often would hear things of, well, give God something to work with, you know. Um, think big. Don't think here because God, you can't have him in a little small box, you know. The earth is his and the fullness thereof. So that's how when I hear that, it's like, okay, it is possible. I can't limit myself. I got to get out of my own way. Okay, what needs to be done? And eventually, walking away from the 9 to 5 will have to take place. So, 5 years, that would be wonderful if I can just like, okay, 5 years, I'm done. We're gonna do whatever we got to do to make this happen. And I think that's very doable for the financial obligations that I do have, as they get under control, as I control my own kind of spending.
Yeah.
You know, because you have being an entrepreneur, you can't just be doing any old thing, especially if that's your sole means of living. Um, you can't just be doing any old kind of spending and stuff like that. I mean, the budgeting has to be, great. And with that, I've learned also by attending some good sessions from Ubiquitous Expo. The Jermaine, who puts on that big expo in Washington D.C., she made sure she's taken an interest in me, to make sure that I get information that I need to help me grow. And it was told that their your personal financial situation, um, you need to have that straight, because that will have an impact on your business stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So little things like your credit. If you have like a credit card balance, and there's a way that you can make payments to where your credit score will go up. So like 3 weeks out, you make half a payment. 1 week out from your due date, you make another payment. That looks like you're paying twice.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then to add to that is, if you have like reoccurring bills to help with that whole credit cycle, have your recurring bills be paid by your credit card, and then pay your credit card in those increments that I had said. And people were saying like their stuff within a matter of weeks was jumping up from like the 600s to 700s to 800s.
Mm-hmm.
Just real quick. And so all of that came about, networking with folks.
Yeah.
That's another aspect of entrepreneurship, being able to network. I've lately been networking with an organization, Black Connections LLC, based out of Richmond, Virginia, Sandra. And she's you can find her on Instagram, and her whole thing is help promoting Black entrepreneurship. And I mean, it's been phenomenal. I've been learning a lot, and just trying to promote that, her organization.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, unity. And in our community, we need to be, and I know sometimes trust is a issue. We got all kind of underlining situations and issues and stuff like that. But if we were to get it together and band together and support one another, I mean, we already showed that we're unstoppable when we all, put our resources and our thoughts and our talents and stuff together. It's just amazing, because like a lot of our dollars that we make and we earn, we spend outside of the community.
And we need to stop that, because there's no way that we can actually become the thriving entrepreneurs in our community if we keep taking, if Daily Desire gets $1,000 of revenue this week, and then you go to Macy's and spend that money,
right?
It doesn't filter back through. So we've got to do a better job of supporting one another. And I know we have this whole issue with, Black people, or our community, they don't know how to budget. They don't know how to do this. They just want the coins. They just want this. But that comes with education. And if I think we educate one another and say, okay, look, if you help me to know how to budget, or if you teach me how to, not go for the loan path, but go for the this path, or what have you, and then we can build that internal trust.
Right.
in our community, wherein we're not going to someone's salon and they're acting like they're in the hood. Come
Mm-hmm.
on now, we've been
Right.
there. You're an
Right.
entrepreneur, but you're snapping your customers up and you're hollering across
Right.
the salon, and
Right.
you're
Yes. Yeah.
acting just like people expect you to act. And then you're getting upset because you don't have the clientele that you think that you
Right.
deserve. And so I think it's incumbent upon us that if we're going to be entrepreneurs, I'm not saying we have to be like the other communities in terms of doing it just like them, but we got to have some level of class. We got to have some integrity. We've got to have some character. We've got to be able to present ourselves in such a way that we're palatable to all communities and not
Right.
just Black dollar. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so when we don't take the time to learn business and we just say, I'm going to jump out here and I'm going to start something, but you don't have the rudimentary skills, you don't know what it means to have, are you going to have employees? Are you going to pay them? What's your tax bracket? Do you have a flow sheet? Do you have a production sheet? Do you know what it's going to look like at the end of the month, or what your income versus your expenses? If you don't take the time to learn all of that before you jump out feet first, you're going to be a mockery to yourself. You're going to be a mockery to your family. You're going to be a mockery to our community. And we're going to end up with another business that, quote unquote, didn't succeed. I don't want to say failed, that didn't succeed because you didn't do your homework before you wanted to get out there and make bank. Like you said, it's not just about making money. I love the fact that you said you use your passion to help people, to bring awareness, to make things better for others. It's not necessarily just a money maker for you. And I think if we think of it in those terms, you may build a bigger clientele because they will see just how much you care.
Right.
About
And
them and not about
yeah.
money. You know what I mean?
And it's genuine too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you have a budget? Do you have a mean? I know you have a 9 to 5, but do you have a separate account or means wherein you separate your daily desire funds and how that looks? Do you have to, you're an LLC, so I'm assuming you have to pay taxes every 3 months or every quarter and all of those different things. What do you use to do that budget? What do you use to pay your taxes? And I'm not telling you to give all the information, but give us a little snippet of what that looks like. Do you use ADP? Do you use QuickBooks? Do you use, what does it look like?
So for me, when all the different fees and stuff that I pay, I do use my 9 to 5, to pay all that stuff. Right now, my website is built off of Wix.com, and Wix has its own system, like financial system within it of itself, where I can run reports and things of that nature and keep track of what I'm spending. Again, it's only as good as I am inputting the information.
Right.
So there are days where I am tired when I come home, from my 9 to 5, and I'm ordering stuff and spending stuff, and then it's like, oh, okay, Darlene, how much did you actually spend this month? So then I have to take a time out from everything and don't do anything else, and then just focus purely on the business side of the business, because I can get caught up in the whole making of the butters, of the products, improving upon things. And then it's like, yeah, but you have that business side too. And since I don't pay anybody to do that for me, because that could be an option too. I could say, if I could find an accountant or a CPA, and I can say, can you handle that part so I can just concentrate on the creating of the products and stuff like that, and reaching out to folks and doing the expos and stuff like that. That's something that I have been toying around with,
I don't want to cut you off, but you make a very good point that I want to highlight.
Okay.
When you said you were so engrossed in the business side of it, the baking the butters, the ordering, the putting the products together, that now you're having to learn to be the CEO at the same time.
Right.
And one of the things that we don't know, I'm going to say expressly in our community, we want a business, but we don't know how to be a CEO.
Right.
So you have to be able to balance entrepreneurship and chief executive officer, because chief executive officer is more ingrained in terms of knowing how the sales funnels work. What is the bottom line? What's coming in? What's going out? What does your clientele look like? What's the PR look like? How is the marketing? If you don't know the CEO side of it and you're just making butter, you're spending your money, spinning your wheels, and don't know, you really don't know what's going on the other side of to make you really successful, so you don't sink, or you don't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the business plan of it. You definitely have to have a business plan created so you can see all of that. And have it written out so it's like right there in your face and stuff. It's that's a very important aspect. And now, truth be told, when I first started, I wasn't thinking of the CEO part. I was the one to, I'm like, okay, I'm all about, let's do it. Let's make this happen. Oh yeah, everybody's loving, the product and da 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 da. And then you start getting mail from the state of whatever your state is.
$350.
Yeah, and you're like, what is this? And like, oh, you got taxes. And so, and I'm glad you had mentioned that, because it made me it's something I wanted to share that I had forgotten about. So when I first started, and I was like, okay, so what business structure? Because I wasn't well versed in business structure. I was going by what people were saying. And so initially when I started out LLC, automatically changed it to an Inc. I incorporated without doing the homework.
I was gonna say, did you know what you
did? I found out quickly.
I know you did.
So I changed and went to Inc. without, really knowing what that meant, because all I was doing was fixated on the perks of what an Inc. supposedly gives you, but I was in no position to become incorporated. And so I was incorporated for a couple of years, and when them, man, different, you're mandated to pay certain things like personal property taxes. You have the $350 a year type of deal on top of your regular annual taxes that you pay. Then there was the employee where you have to give money towards unemployment tax. And
you didn't have employees, did you?
No, it was only me, but I still had to account for me. They said, if you don't say, because I try to do I'm not, I don't have any employees, and they came back with a letter saying, oh no, if you don't mark that you have an employee, then this and this is going to happen. So I was like, oh my gosh. So when all this stay-at-home COVID stuff happened, I took advantage. So for 2020, from January to, I think it was like around May or June, I said, okay, I had stopped the business, and I said, I'm going back to an LLC. So during the time that I wasn't selling anything, I wasn't pushing for anything, I said, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and dissolve the Inc., settle whatever remaining debt I had with that. And then I went back into creating an LLC, how you know me now. So with that, when I revamped, and I did it like within a matter of a couple of months, when I came back, oh, and this is funny, during that time that I wasn't doing anything, this how I know that there was a lot of people for me, because they were sending me text messages, email messages saying, Darlene, when you gonna open back up? Because like we're low, we don't want to go nowhere else.
My
You need to
agent
start
said that.
playing, do what you got to do so we can get our stuff, okay? Like we're not going anywhere, so you need to do what you got to do, sort out what you need to sort out, and get back going. So that's what I did. That was nice to know that people actually were for me that much so.
Yeah,
And I think God, um, he knew right when I needed to hear that, because I kind of had a thought like, man, I might not even come back. And so like, no, because the business is it's not just about the product, the butter, the business. I believe in it, and I've always shared this with people that this is more of a ministry, as someone told me one time. They're like, your business is your ministry,
mm,
because it puts me in contact with people that I otherwise wouldn't be in contact with, for however I need to be there, for people, whether it's just a listening ear, whether to give encouragement, to help them, uh, activate their dreams. God will tell you something, and then you'll sit on it because I'm not ready. And yeah, you want to be prepared and everything else, but you can't let fear stop you either. You know.
absolutely.
So when I started back up, I changed my website address. I changed my logo. I changed the design of my website, because I do all of that too. um, and God started giving me visions again of what to do. I have a calendar just full of different things. But as I get excited with all those different things that he gives me, I still have to remember there's that business side still, don't act like how
So,
you did before. Yeah. And neglect that side. Business, you need to take care of the business side of the house as well as the production side of the house.
yes,
So just everything wrapped up together. I just love all the lessons, all the experiences, all the words of encouragement that I can give, for people, to do what they're supposed to be doing, their passion, their purpose. It just is very rewarding. So
well,
yeah.
I have and I love your spirit. I love your heart, because most of us do things to help other people, but we cannot neglect ourselves, because if we're
Right.
expending all of this energy
Yeah.
to get something out to help other people, we've got to have something come back to us.
Right.
The gift of reciprocity, give out, give back. Someone put in the comments, don't eat your seed, plant it and watch it grow.
Right.
So while we're doing that, we still have to remember our why, but at the same time, we're not doing it just for other people.
Right.
Something I wanted to offer to you, and somebody shared this to me, as a military member, you can go to IVMF, which
Okay.
is an arm of Syracuse University. It's free to veterans, and it helps them with entrepreneurship. They have programs. They help you get started. They have classes. They have all of these different things for you to go out there. And then there's so many arms to it. So it's IVMF. It's got VYs. That's for women. That's women being who are entrepreneurs. They have EBV, and you get all of this free education
Okay.
as an entrepreneur. And so I wanted to offer that to you because somebody offered it to me, and I'm going to sign up for it so that they can help me show me how to do the CEO side. Show me, they can help you with networking. They can put your name out there. It's a lot of different stuff that's going to be very instrumental in you getting to that multi-million-dollar place, because you can't do that in the shadows.
Right.
You got to come out. You've branded, you've reorganized, you've done all of this stuff, and it can't be for naught. So God has instructed me to give you that, so that your entrepreneurship can go to the next level, and you can have the whole span of what your business is supposed to do, not just for others, but for you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Miss Darlene Curl of Daily Desire LLC, not Inc., but LLC. And if you want to reach out to her, you can certainly visit her website at www.dailydesire425.com, or send her an email at dailydesire425@gmail.com. And I just like to promote, because that's why I have people come on, because if they're doing something in our community, we need to share it with our community. And I just wanted to ask you, maybe the last question, because we're coming close to the end of the segment. How did you choose your target customer? Because a lot of people will say, I'm just going to throw out I'm going to toss the line and catch who I catch. But that's not a good business strategy. How did you determine with your different butters and creams? I heard you say it's for African Americans, white people and all of that. Whereas most people say this is strictly for the African American woman. This is strictly for this, strictly for that, because, our skin needs something different. Our emollients and moisturizers is different. How did you decide on your clientele, your focused clientele?
Well, naturally, growing up in African American home, we were always taught how to moisturize, doing something. Back then it was like Vaseline.
The shiny face.
Vaseline, the various lotions, like back then, like Jergens. I'm really dating myself. Jergens
cocoa butter. Remember the cocoa butter.
Palmer's cocoa butter. Yeah.
Ambi. Putting Ambi on the spot.
My mom was big on Ambi. Yeah, so, but what was interesting, though, as I had conversations with other ethnic groups, they're like, your skin is so beautiful. Why don't you look your age? And then they would say things like, we weren't taught how to moisturize, that like lotion and things of moisturization and stuff like that. Maybe if they were, their skin would be a lot, better shape and stuff like that. So I am a ear hustler. So I'll listen to what
me too, girl. I'm like,
I like to listen to what people say in conversation, whether they're talking to me or if they're talking to other people, because I found out, even men, they're I forget, with metrosexual. Yeah. It's people who I might not have even thought about at first. And again, a lot of this information, with what amazes me and how I know God's hand was in it, is because I was in the right place in the right time to hear these things. So it's like he was like saying, pay attention to what's being said. A lot of people aren't going to go for somebody outside of your race, outside of your gender, and I'm like, everybody has skin. Now, there might be a difference in if, some people have drier skin, oily skin and stuff. So I'm a big advocate to my clientele. I'm like, please give me feedback so that I know and I learn them that maybe what might work for one certain group because of how your skin is, not necessarily that you're of a different ethnic race or, you know, the gender stuff is more of, okay, your skin is made up of, you know, different layers of stuff. And your lifestyle, are you drinking, you know, water? You know, there's different other things for to moisturize your skin. Shower and bathe, get out, don't dry off, put the stuff on, and it seals in the moisture even more. So it's more so of that aspect that I tend to look at things, not necessarily, okay, I'm just going for the Black community,
Right.
going for the white community. No, everybody has skin, and I would like to be able to help everyone out. So why should I limit myself? And I think by not limiting my thought process is what's going to help me get to that multi-million-dollar, you know, goal of where, you know, yeah, it just works for everybody.
And that's amazing, because a lot of people don't know that the largest organ that we have in our body is our skin.
The skin, exactly.
Because usually when I ask people that question, when I teach health to undergrad school students, I'll say, what is the largest organ in your body? They'll say your liver. They'll say your stomach. I said, no, it's your skin. They're like, what? I said, it covers your whole body. It's an organ. It's an organism. It has layers. It has collagen. It has, you know, all of these different things. And if you don't take care of it, it's going to show. It's going to show. So this has been amazing. I tell you, I might have to. And see, my skin is so sensitive. I can't put like moisturizers on my face, and I break out from everything. So I'm like, what in the world? And so we're gonna have to figure out something special for Michele, because
yes,
my skin is so temperamental.
And you're not by yourself. You're not by yourself.
And break out. I'll be like,
And I've had people tell me that too. So they use my unscented, or they use the one I call Chocolate Delight, which is my version of cocoa butter. and they love it, and their skin loves it. I mean, I have people with eczema, psoriasis, people who take medication and their skin is jacked up from the medication. You know, they use my product, and they're just like, this is so amazing, and I don't have to keep reapplying and things of that nature. So try it for yourself is all I can say.
And I will. I have all of your information. And again, for those of you who are watching or listening, we've been talking to Darlene Curl, entrepreneur, business owner of Daily Desire LLC. Visit her website at www.dailydesire425@gmail.com. You can find all the information, how to connect with her, how to buy her amazing products. Certainly, she will ensure that you will get all that you need. This has been an amazing show on today. God knows we need things to help take care of ourselves. For those of you who are just tuning in, you can watch the replay on my YouTube channel, Life Matters with Michele TV Official. Like, share, and subscribe. You can also watch it listen to it on sensationalsoundsradio.net every Friday at 4:00 p.m. So you can find me anywhere. YouTube, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on Sensational Sounds Radio. And to be a guest, I'm looking for guests for August through the end of December. That starts season 3, and I'm booked up until that point. I'm especially looking for some bald, beautiful, and bold women for my BBB segment. I want to do a discussion. So if you're out there, my sister, I want to talk to you. So visit me at www.im-mij.com, and you can reach out to me. And certainly I would love to have you on the show. Thank you once again, Darlene, for coming on the show. And thank you, all of my guests, all of my visitors, all of my listeners, for tuning in to Life Matters, where we talk about what matters to you. Thank you again, and we will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.